episode 700, baby! Today we are doing 3 episodes, episode 700, 701, and 702. Whew! I'm excited. I'm really excited. I mean, I'm recording this at the last minute, unfortunately, because this is supposed to go up on my Patreon today. It's supposed to go up in like 4 hours. But, you know, I've been very busy, okay? I'm recording this on Christmas week, right? This is like, Christmas was 3 days ago, so in 3 days is 3 or 4 days is New Year's Eve, so it's a very busy time right now, so these videos are getting done like very last minute, but I'm excited, you know. I'm really excited to watch more One Piece. In case you guys didn't see, on my community tab or on my Blue Sky account, which if you're not following me on Blue Sky, you definitely should. But in case you're not following me, ta-da! It's a beautiful Nami figure from the Egghead arc, I think. Obviously it's like a minor spoiler knowing her design from that arc, but I already knew it because there's a lot of promotional art of it, you know? Like when you've started watching One Piece, you see One Piece shit everywhere. And since the Egghead arc is the arc I think that's going on in the anime right now, not in the manga, but in the anime, then you know, obviously their designs are kind of everywhere. So I've already seen her design there. I know her design from what's it called? The big one, you know, the one that had Gear 5 Luffy in it, I think. So I know her design from that one as well. But anyway, the people who got me this for Christmas don't know anything about One Piece. But it's a beautiful design. It's a good choice, honestly. Like, I mean, I said this in a comment on the community post that I made about it. I could do with some pants, honestly. I feel like, you know, I'd like if she had some long pants or a skirt. I think a skirt would look decent with that. But other than that, I mean, I love the sweater. I love her hair, and I love the things in her hair and stuff. I'm excited to catch up on One Piece. I'm so excited. I want to get up to these arcs and see what the deal is with those things. I mean, honestly, like, some of the things that I've heard that are going on, I don't know any events that are happening in the show right now, but just like from the designs that I've seen in the just like the places they seem to be going, I feel like I'm gonna really like the more current episodes of One Piece. So I'm so excited for that. But I'm also excited about what we're watching now, because we're in Dressrosa, and since we hit episode 700, we've now entered the weird section of Crunchyroll Dressrosa episodes that they've separated from the other ones for seemingly no reason. But that means we're in the last, like, I think it's like 46 episodes or something of the Dressrosa arc. I feel like now, you know, I mean, we're in some juicy stuff. I feel like we could, like, I don't know, 40 to 50 episodes is still quite a lot of episodes. So I wonder, like, what the pacing's gonna be like here. But, you know, I've said before, I don't mind if they slow down the pacing, if at least they're slowing it down but there's really cool events happening, so I constantly feel that excitement, you know? Like that episode where Usopp was doing a snipe from a long distance, that was a very slow-paced episode, like extremely slow-paced, but I loved that episode. I was like so excited the entire time, you know? So at least they were using the fact that they were slowing it down for advantage in the tension and stuff. But then when you slow it down when they're like running through the streets, or when when we have like random characters that I don't care about, or when they're doing like a weird joke over and over again, then in those situations, you really feel how slow the pace is. So yeah. Anyway, I'm hoping that, like, if the pace is going to continue to be as it was, then at the very least, I hope the events that are happening are like so exciting that I don't fucking care, you know. But yeah. Anyway, so I feel like getting into the strongest parts of the arc, and I hope it can keep up that excitement, because yeah, we were facing off against Doflamingo and everything. It was great. So make sure to support this video if you can, liking the video, commenting down below, and subscribing to the channel. I have a Patreon account where you can get the full-length reactions and early access. That means you can get the next 20 or so episodes on my Patreon account right now. Maybe more, I don't know. I'm planning, hopefully, at some time soonish to like do more extra videos, especially in the Stress Rose arc, to like, because I know some people wanted me to get through it a little quicker. So I do want to try to do some bonus stuff, but maybe I'll have to wait until, you know, the new year officially starts and then think about it. So keep your eye out. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, because maybe there'll be bonus videos dropping, maybe not. And on my Patreon account, like, you're more likely to get a bonus video or two, I feel like, than YouTube is, because I can kind of do it quicker for Patreon. And also those people are financially supporting me, which is a big thing as well. So if you want to financially support me, go check that out. And otherwise, you can join the YouTube membership down below to get 1 week early on edited videos. Anyway, let's jump into this. This is One Piece, episode 700. And yeah, that's it. Here we go. Woo! Okay, recap Rubik's. If you're new to this channel, this is a Rubik's Cube that I do while the recap is going on, and the goal is to beat the recap. Alright, and that's the cube complete. Okay, this episode is gonna be called A Rose-Colored Tragedy, Doflamingo's Family Life. That's a pretty good title, honestly. He doesn't have much of a choice. Oh my god, his grin doesn't fit on his face. Oh, careful, elephant, don't slice yourself. I can just imagine the elephant like moving through and then falling into all those pieces. There's no way someone drew with an admiral, yeah. I love Fujitora being pissed off, it's very cool. I'm glad the Navy seems like they're actually doing the best thing that they can do. This is good. It's always good when they show, you know, the good parts of the Navy, the people who are actually trying to help citizens. That's why I think Fujitora was a great addition to this show. Aw, poor kids. Shit. Oh, shit! Okay, good. He's still quick. Forgot about Bellamy. Oh. Break it! Nice! Can't use his hands, he'll use his feet. Oh god. Oh shit. Oh damn. Oh, I hate the sound. Come on, Law. Shit. Okay. Ah. He really wanted that op fruit. Huh? Okay. Really? What is it? Immortality? Yeah. Perpetual youth surgery? Whoa. And I like that Law says he has no interest in it. He's like, I don't give a fuck. I know it's one of the most powerful fruits in the world, and I don't care. I don't need that. Oh. Interesting. Oh, cool. Oh. That's interesting. Interesting that he's pointing out all of his... That's cool. Oh, this is great. 10 years old. 16 years ago. Spider Miles. Wait, Spider Miles? Like Miles Morales Spider-Man? Is that what it's inspired by? All those fucking grenades across him. Look at Baby 5. How old is Baby 5 here? 16 years ago. Maybe she's like 10? Oh. It's nice that those two have been friends their whole life, basically. It's honestly kind of cute. The fuck is wrong with you? Damn, man, that's very much like Doflamingo. Clearly, Baby 5's there. Who is that? Was that Dellinger's hair? Oh, that's Korra, right. Of course. Of course. Got all the hearts all over him. Oh my god. Jesus. But still smiling even after being hit. That's a huge cup. Oh, I guess he's a big guy. Yep. Oh, he can't speak. Oh. Or maybe doesn't speak. Oh my god. Jesus. Oh god. Oh, I like that the lighting there. Holy shit. Is this could be clumsy, right? He just set himself on fire. Okay, good episode right there. There was actually quite a lot of information in that episode, so much so that I absolutely missed stuff. I absolutely did. Like I realized like partway through the episode. I think, look, there was part of me that like I was watching the episode, and the start of the episode, the first 7 minutes is recap, right? And then, or the intro and recap. And then there's kind of more recap, like in bits and pieces until like, you know, 10 minutes or something into the episode. So my mind kind of went into a state of like, of filler mode for a little bit. And then when the characters were talking about actual important shit, I almost was like, my mind was elsewhere for a second. But I believe I ended up picking up most of the stuff. But just in case, I'm like flicking through the episode right now. But no, I mean, when I'm flicking through these subtitles, I feel like I get it. Like I don't think I missed too much. So yeah. Anyway, did it say how? No, it didn't say the ages of the other members. It said Law's age. He was like 10 years old or something, right? Yeah, he was 10 years old. I'm just trying to figure out, like, so firstly, like, how old is Baby 5? And secondly, how old is Buffalo? Like, I wonder if I was thinking for a second, like, is it a thing where Buffalo's actually a kid as well, like the same age as her? But he's just like a bigger kid, you know? Like, that wouldn't surprise me that much. Because, I mean, these people, like, look how big these people are. You know, like, look at how big Trebol and Diamante is. And obviously, Doflamingo's huge as well. Like, when you look at these characters, they're a lot of them are massive. So, like, it wouldn't surprise me if, like, when they're a kid, you know, that's how big they are when they're a kid. So I'm not sure. Like, I don't know. Is it maybe that Buffalo's supposed to be a kid as well, and they're just like two kids running around doing bullshit? I imagine Baby Five's a kid here. It's also possible that you're like, oh no, she's 18 years old here, but I doubt it. But yeah. Anyway, good episode. So I like seeing the Navy just like doing legitimate work, like actually trying to help out. Because I mean, a lot of the time what you see is, I feel like especially the vice admirals and the people around the vice admirals, they still have this, like, a lot of them anyway, still have this like idea of what they want the Navy to be, and like they've got their own idea of justice and whatever. But like a lot of the time it feels like they are trying to achieve this better world with what they're doing. And so like a lot of them, I imagine, legitimately got into this to help people out and are still trying to help people out. But then once you get to the more higher ups, the admirals, the fleet admirals, the like people making decisions, the elder stars or whatever, like all of those types of characters, you start to be seeing things from too much of a macro lens where you're not thinking about the people anymore. But having an arc like this, where you have Fujitora, who's an admiral, who became an admiral, and even at the admiral position is trying to like see the bigger picture, like understand it's funny. I mean, see the bigger picture is a strange term for it, because like, funnily enough, by see the bigger picture, I mean actually focus on the smaller details, which is the people within it. But funnily enough, that is the bigger picture. Like, I think if I was to expand this metaphor out, it's like when you're lower in the Navy, you're like looking at the picture very close. You know, you're seeing the details. I'm actually going to use a visual example. I have this framed picture that I've had framed for a long time, and it's always been on my side. I'm going to use it as an example. Let's say this represents the Navy. So if you are just like a lower person, you might just see, you know, that much of it. You just see the people you want to help, and you can see like the weird little dots and details, and you can see the imperfections or whatever of that section. By the way, I guess I should probably show this artwork is done by Chobi Fo. I just want to shout them out because this is a beautiful piece of artwork. I bought it like 10 years ago or something. I can't remember. It was a long time ago. Maybe not 10 years ago, but it was a long time ago that I bought this. So yeah, if you're smaller down, you just see like that much of the art. And the further up you go in the Navy, the more you see of the art. Then, when you get to like the really high up positions, you see the full art. You see what everything represents, right? You see all of it together, which is beautiful and amazing. And it's great. But because of that, you start missing the smaller imperfections, the dots, the lines, everything that makes up the art, because you're just seeing the full picture. Someone like Fujitora comes in and they can see the full picture, but what's amazing about him is he can also zoom in and see all of the details on it. He can see like the greater goals of the Navy, but he can also see the individual people within the world and how they're being affected and what the Navy's doing to people like them. And that is like truly amazing to see. And I mean, obviously, Oda is also playing with the idea that he's a blind man, but he's the one who can see more than anyone else can, which is like, that's kind of classic. Like, that's a classic blind man, cool guy trope, but I really always like that. So I'm gonna put this back. Hold on. Okay. So I really like that aspect that they're playing with right there. I think it's very fun. What did I do with my my notebook? There it is. Oh. So yeah, I really like that. So also, now here's something I actually don't quite know about, right? The op fruit, he said in this episode that the op fruit, hang on. I'm gonna read these subtitles again for a second. Okay, so firstly, the first thing they said is like, as well as the personality transplant surgery, there's another usage. Was the personality transplant surgery, I'm trying to remember, was that what they did with Kuma? It's hard for me to remember exactly, because I mean, when they originally said that, I just thought, oh, that's just the body switching move, right? That's just like, that's the thing he uses to switch people's bodies. But maybe that's an application of it. But the reason it's so important is that because that's what they used on Kuma, because that immediately is what's jumping to mind. But it could have been something else that's super obvious that I'm just missing. But then they said there's another usage, and that usage is the what did he call it? Oh, I've got it written down. The perpetual youth surgery. But then he said he has no interest in it. The surgeon himself will die. So, okay, yeah. Okay, I understand now. The greatest power of this fruit is to grant another person eternal life. But once it's performed, the surgeon himself will die. So he can't... Okay, that was the thing that I was like... I thought about it a little bit while the scene was going on. And I thought... Hang on, did I read that correctly, or do I understand that correctly? And then I thought, you know what, I'll wait until discussion to figure this out. But okay, so Law cannot give himself eternal life. He can provide someone else with eternal life at the cost of his own life. And then Doflamingo said, that's why I wasn't gonna let you eat it. So, like, Doflamingo is saying, I didn't want you to be the one to have to give up your life for that? Is that what he's saying? So that's like an oddly affectionate thing to say. I mean, not oddly, because he, you know, in a way, Law was like, you know, part of their family and stuff. So he does seem to care about his family, and he didn't want Law to be the one to have to give up his life. But so that's really interesting. So the op fruit, you can use it to give up your life and give someone else eternal life. Now, why do we know that? I don't know if this is just like if this is a thing where we have to just go, it doesn't matter. Like, you could probably come up with a reason, but I wonder if there is actually a reason why we know that exists. Because theoretically, you would only know that exists if someone had used it in the past, if someone had done that surgery, which is possible. But then that implies that there's someone out there who was given eternal life and is still around, which again is possible. But then why haven't we heard of them? Or is it like, when they say eternal life, is it like you will never die from natural causes? Like, that genuinely is probably what it is. Because, I mean, yeah, that only makes sense. It's not like immortality necessarily. It's eternal life. It's your body will continue to stay young and will not degrade over time. But I imagine if you were shot in the head a bunch of times with a gun, you're probably dead. I would guess. So it's possible someone was given eternal life, lived for 300 years, and then died. And but then, you know, because of that, we know that it is possible to give someone eternal life. Or is it something where like they just did a lot of research on the fruits and go like, well, this is technically possible from the research that we did. It's technically possible to use this power in this certain application. I don't know. I have no idea. But oh yeah, the other thing that I was thinking is, how long have devil fruits been known about? Like how I haven't actually thought about too much about the history of One Piece, because honestly, when I get too granular in my, I think granular is the right term, when I get too grand in my view of the greater world of these sorts of series, I start to get a little lost, and so I feel like I never focus on that stuff. I always try to focus in on like the sphere around the series, you know. I'll focus in on the characters we know and the characters that they know maybe, and the powers of the people that we know. And then as soon, like, the more we pull back, the more I feel like I could get lost in any of those pathways. But like, and that's even with series that I feel like I know quite a bit about. Like, I feel like my knowledge of like the My Hero Academia universe is pretty good. I'm not a manga reader, but I've watched the anime so many times. And I've also read the spin-off manga, which I would show it to you, but it's holding up the camera. But I've got a lot of the Vigilantes manga right here, right in front of me, under the camera. I'm shaking the camera by hitting the manga. I've read the whole Vigilantes spin-off, and I've watched all of the anime like over 10 times. Genuinely, the whole anime over 10 times. So I feel like I've got a pretty good knowledge of that universe. Even then, if you ask me about like, you know, the history of things and like when exactly things happened and like what generation this happened and whatever, as soon as you start getting there, even though I could give you like, you know, I could tell you, oh, there was a time when All for One reigned and there was like, there was like, you know, this many One for All users, so this person was around kind of during the same time as this person. I can tell you that, but I would be very vague because I just don't tend to focus on that stuff. But all I know about the One Piece history really is I remember they keep talking about the blank century, I believe it's called, right? Just like this history that's been erased essentially. And that, you know, Robin wants to find out what happened during that time and stuff. I remember stuff like that. And I know Gold Roger's death. Those are like the two major historical events that I remember. And that was, Gold Roger's death was, oh, I'm forgetting. Was it like 20 years ago or something? It was some time around then. So, I mean, I could probably find it out just by going to episode 1 of the live action, because it actually says like, you know, Logue Town, and then it has how many years ago it was or whatever. So I could check it just by going there. But the point is, I wonder how long devil fruits have been a thing, because I don't remember when the blank century was. I don't remember like how many years ago that century was. But I imagine there were probably devil fruits around then. Have there, in this world, have we basically always known about devil's fruits? You know, like we've known about devil's fruits for as long as we've also known about like bananas. Like we found them at the same time, maybe. Or is it a thing where it's like the devil fruits appeared one day? You know, if we're going back to My Hero Academia, quirks didn't always exist. There was actually a time where they discovered the quirk, the baby that shone as soon as they were born, like shone bright with light. That was like the first quirk that was discovered, right? And so it actually like quirks became a part of their lives pretty late into human existence. So I wonder if One Piece is the same, where like the powers only started sprouting up later into human existence, or is that not the case? Were the powers, have they just always been a thing? And this is the thing. This is maybe something that they've gone over in the show already, or at least implied heavily. If they haven't explicitly said it, and I mean explicitly said it, like straight up the character said exactly this, then don't tell me. I always kind of have to say this whenever I'm giving theories. Don't tell me unless it's explicitly stated, please. Because people always try to get it in. They go, well, technically they didn't say it, but you can figure it out if you watch this scene, you know, and then this happens, and the clues tell you that. I don't need clues, okay? I can figure out from the clues later. At least wait for me to be caught up on the show before we start going into clues. I'm looking at my notes again. Hold on. I really liked the "you got your fighting skills from us" thing, where he's like listing off you're using Lao G's kicks, you're using Diamante's sword skills, you know, you're using Gladius's gunnery. Like it's really cool seeing Law's entire fighting style was based off of Doflamingo and the family. So it's really, really cool. And the final thing is that they called this place Spider Miles. That feels like that's a reference, right? In the same way that oh my god, I'm talking about My Hero so much, but in the same way that in My Hero they named the places after Star Wars places, right? He's a big Star Wars fan, and also Horikoshi from MHA is a big Spider-Man fan, and so it kind of wouldn't surprise me if Oda, who Horikoshi was inspired a lot by Oda as well, right? If Oda was also like a Spider-Man fan. And when did this episode come out? I mean, obviously I should check when the manga chapter came out, but I'm not going to do that. I feel like I'm more likely to get spoiled if that's the case. But this episode came out in July 5th, 2015. Yeah, Miles Morales was a character then. Like he was a character in 2015. Miles Morales was created in 2011. Yeah, okay. So he would have been like pretty well established at this point. I mean, he wasn't massively famous yet, because I would say Into the Spider-Verse is what made him very famous, which ended up being in 2018. But I would say in 2015, I remember I knew who he was in 2015, I think. I knew him as like, oh, it's the Black Spider-Man, essentially, right? I knew the character on like a base name level, and I wasn't really a comic book reader. I was just like a comic book appreciator. You know, I didn't read them, but I always liked to hear about them. I feel like if Oda was a comic book reader, I don't know if he is or not, but if he was, then this would be like a good reference to slip in there. But I don't know if that's true. It just feels like Spider Miles is such a specific weird name to have that it feels like it's got to be a reference. It has to be, right? Anyway, let's move on to the next episode. That was a lot of discussion for one episode, but I, you know, yap. All right, let's move on to episode 701 of One Piece. Here we go. All right, recap Rubik's. Here we go. Damn, I was doing that cube pretty quickly, but I still only got that far. This episode is gonna be called, you know what, I'm just gonna say the same thing as last episode, because this time we're actually getting more backstory. Or actually, this one's gonna be about Law's backstory. I don't know, oh, I can't think of a title. It's gonna have Corazon in it, it's gonna have Law in it. Miles Morales saves the day. An unexpected crossover? It'd be saying it's a boy from White Town, and he's come to Spider Miles, Spider Miles, the home of Black Spider-Man, like kid from White Town. Oh my gosh! Look at that fancy suit. Oh my god! He just fucking tosses him. That doesn't look great to me, but... Rakesh. Look at What's her name? The woman I don't like. She looks kind of fancy. Her? The fucking, like, the orange in her hair is crazy. Is Pika gonna talk at any point? Yep, there he goes. Oh. Yeah, he's got that discoloration. White lead disease. Makes sense. That's wild. Oh, one look and she broke. Oh, look at them strolling in. Damn, the fucking bunny ears. Oh, she still uses the leg guns. And then he's gonna swim, of course. It's crazy how cool he looks. Like, he had the Sanji style back then. Senor Pink, I mean. And it was poison. They didn't realize how dangerous it was. That woman that was on screen for a second there looks like she could be Nami's mother. Like, biological mother, I mean. I think you're the genius, kid. You're 10 years old and studying medicine. Aww. Please do. 30 minutes? That's nothing. You can't spare like an hour and a half? Damn, man. They kept the poisoning a secret? That's fucked. Oh. Oh, wow. That's sad. That's why Law only has a few years to live, right? Jesus, man, that's so fucked. Jesus. We keep learning like more and more horrible things about the government in this series. They were covering something up that was causing children to die before they reach adulthood. Lemmy. I mean, she has to rush because you only gave her half an hour. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck, man. Jesus. Oh, this is fucking sad. I hate this. Yeah. It makes a lot of sense. They thought it was a disease that spread around. Jesus. Wow, just left to die. Wow, Jesus! This is a dark fucking story, Oda! Wow, actually, having lead bullets is fucked. I'll try to talk about it in discussion. Oh. This looks like the woman that I said might be Nami's mother. That's not a legitimate theory, but she just looks similar. Man, Oda is putting children through some suffering in the story lately. Oh. Oh my god. Her hair is like going grey. She had such vibrant hair. Oh my god. Oh my god. Jesus. Fucking hell, man. Oh. Jesus, man. This is so horrifying. Oh. Oh, fuck me. Oh. I can't believe Nami's mother is dead. Jesus, man. There really aren't many people in this show that have happy backstories, are there? They're all the saddest things I've ever seen in my life. Oh, look at Baby 5, she's drawn in by the story. Is that sword made out of white lead? Looks kind of white. Jeez. Oh, shit. Oh my god. Oh god, man. Are you fucking kidding me? Oda, that's a fucked up episode of TV. That's a fucked up chapter to write in your manga. Holy shit, that is sad as hell. Oh, just, whew. Like, there's just, it got sadder and sadder. The more you watch it, the more you see there. It's like, really, what a depressing backstory. Like, and not just for Law, but for everyone in that fucking story. Like, that's so sad. So I mean, yeah, like, there's white lead, which was found, didn't realize how poisonous it was. The government found out how poisonous it was and went, but I think the whole thing was like, but it's like kind of making money, right? Let me see what they said was the reason for it. The quick-eyed government went into white lead, made people... Wait. Quick-eyed government went into the transport business to ship that merchandise. White lead make people a fortune, yep. I'm just trying to... There was a certain line where they said, like... Just, like, exactly... about them finding out about it. Okay, knowing this, but blinded by the easy fortune to be had, the government and the royalty of that country kept it a secret. Yeah, so it was purely the idea of white lead's making a lot of money, and if we come out about this, then all of that economy just dies immediately. That whole thing that we base an entire section of our fortune around just goes completely away. So they kept it a secret, and because of that, it poisoned all of those people for a long, long time. And then they continued to keep it a secret Because I mean, at that point, I feel like they were so far into it where they were like, well, we covered this up. So if we come out now and say like, oh, it gives you poisoning, people will be like, well, how did you not find that out ages ago? So it will be clear to everyone that we covered it up. So we can't come clean about it now. So we have to pretend it's some contagious disease that's overtaken the country and that we have to kill them all because they know the truth. And it's just, that's so disgusting. That's such disgusting behavior. And then we see it from the perspective of children. Oda has, you know what? Oh my god. You know what? Someone said that that in I think it was during Dressrosa or just before Dressrosa or something. Let me see if I can find the comment. Okay, so this is from Klingdo, who comments on a lot of my videos, and thank you for your comments. But he said that, like, as for Kiros's backstory, Oda's gone on record saying that he didn't want to draw too many parental scenes as he wasn't one. Most of the father-daughter scenes we have are mostly from the daughter's perspective, like Nami, Robin, and Vivi. He had his own daughter shortly before Dressrosa, which is why he was finally comfortable showcasing the relationship from Kiros's point of view. When I read that, that comment, that kind of stuck with me because I was like, that's really sweet. And also, like, finding out that Oda has a daughter, that it feels like he'd be a great dad from the lessons that we learned through One Piece, like being able to pass that on to your daughter, like that gets me emotional to think about. But yeah, so if he had it shortly before Dressrosa, I don't know when Dressrosa was in the manga. We just found out it was 2015 in the anime. Let's say it was 2013 in the manga. I don't know if that's true or not, but let's say that was the case. So his daughter would be like 11 by now. Interesting. Like, I wonder, I'm thinking about it in terms of like, I wonder, does she interact with One Piece stuff at all? Like, is there a time where she's gonna get old enough and then he's gonna be like, hey, you're allowed to watch One Piece now if you want, you know, this is your father's like greatest accomplishment, this huge thing that I've given to the world, and now you're old enough to be able to take in its themes. I don't know, because I feel like at 11 you can probably start taking in some of the themes. I feel like One Piece gets very, very dark, but I feel like there's stuff that you can engage with even as a kid, because kids are more mature than we give them credit for a lot of the time. I mean, it's up to the parents to decide, really. Anyway, but the point is, he had his own daughter shortly before Dressrosa. Now, before Dressrosa is Punk Hazard, right? And Punk Hazard is when I consider Oda to have really started to go, hey, you know what? Fuck kids. Like, I mean, not to say that there hasn't been really, really tragic kid stuff throughout all of the series, but I feel like Punk Hazard was like, hey, let's show these kids and how fucked up it is doing anything to kids and like making them cry. And then again, now that he's doing it again with this backstory where it's like, hey, here's these kids that are suffering, you know. And then with the Kiro's backstory as well, like going through and showing Rebecca having to suffer when she was a kid that much. And like the idea of like demonizing these children and making them feel isolated from everyone and stuff. Like, all of this to say that I feel like, you know, the real reason for that probably is that that's when Oda started to have a personal connection with children and like started to understand how a parent feels. Like, I imagine probably when he was writing Punk Hazard, if the information here is to be believed, which is that he had his daughter shortly before Dressrosa, if that's the case, then theoretically his wife would have been pregnant, if that is how he had his kid. I don't know. It's possible. It just says he had his own daughter. It's possible he adopted. It's also possible there was a surrogate or whatever. But anyway, it doesn't matter. let's just assume that it was his wife that was pregnant with his child. I assume while he was riding Punk Hazard, or at least planning it, like that might have been when his wife was pregnant. And so at that point, he's starting to have those fatherly instincts kick in, and possibly at that point, like in his mind, there's nothing more despicable than doing something to your child. And so he writes those feelings into the story by making, like, how can I make it hateable villains? Well, let's have children be the victims of it, you know? And then same with in this. And it works on me. I'm fucking pissed off. I'm so pissed. And I mean, like, also every time it's like, you know, a daughter, like a young girl, we know, like, I have biases. I have like a protective nature that I've theorized in the past. Like, it goes back to my protectiveness of like my sister and my mother, that was like ingrained into me from a young age. But I have that same feeling where it's like when I see, like, you know, a young girl that, like, what's her name? Lammy, who's just suffering through something, especially when she seems so pure and like, and just so sweet. It makes me furious. So yeah, this was quite the hell of a backstory. But there was something I was going to talk about. Oh yeah, but they said like that they had like lead bullets, right? That they created lead bullets and that they were going to use those. That feel, because I think what they were saying there was Flevance themselves had lead bullets, so they were like fighting back with it. But it feels like that's a fucked up weapon to use. Like, that feels like that's a war crime, because theoretically what you're doing there is you're shooting someone with like concentrated poison, essentially. But like, it seems like the idea is like white lead doesn't immediately start showing results on your body. It doesn't immediately poison you or whatever. It's like over time it does. Is it possible that, like, I mean, I don't know how, well, actually, yeah, no, I'll just continue a sentence before I move on to the next one. Why don't I? If you get shot with a lead bullet, you might get shot through, you know, the side or through the stomach or whatever, right? And then you are out of the battle, you go to a doctor, you get fixed up, you maybe survive the bullet wound, and then possibly many years later, you have the poisoning from the bullet, and now you're poisoned, and now you might die many, many years later. Or your children might be affected and have shorter lifespans because you were shot by this lead bullet. Like, and I was thinking, like, well, it's, you know, it's coming into contact with one lead bullet, where it's like these other people who are poisoned, like, they were coming in contact with a lot of like their jewelry and all of that for a long period of time. So I don't know how much effect one lead bullet would have, but it's also going through your body. Like, it's not just, you're not just touching it, but it's also like getting into your bloodstream and stuff. So maybe it works even more effectively if you fire it through someone, and that would instantly, or, you know, like really effectively poison you just from one bullet. I don't know. Either way, it seems like a really fucked up weapon to use, because it's one thing to fire bullets at people. Like, so, you know, you might think, well, you're shooting people, you're trying to kill them anyway. But a lot of the time we have like war crimes, you know, the Geneva Convention and stuff, because, whoa, okay, hold on. Why did my thing go off there? Hello? Okay, give me a second. Okay, that was weird. I think my capture card just screwed up for a second there. A lot of the time, you know, we have the Geneva Convention and stuff like that because wars, I mean, look, the wars are horrible, and I shouldn't have to say that. But I think the idea that we're trying to hold on to is that they're not about killing people. Like, it's about, you know, fighting one another, and you're risking death, but you're not necessarily trying to do any more than is necessary. That's the idea behind them. In practice, it probably doesn't work too well. Look, I'm not someone who's incredibly intelligent in political matters, so do not come to me for any sort of information here. I'm analyzing this from a story point of view, so, you know, take everything I say here about the political nature of this stuff with a huge grain of salt, because it needs to, like, that needs to be said, I think, because I don't want to like influence anyone with incorrect information. But I believe that's the idea behind, you know, having war crimes, having rules of war, is we want to retain some sort of humanity for it. So the idea of like, if you shoot someone and they go down and they're out of the war, like that person's considered done. Like, you're not, I'm pretty sure, again, might be spreading misinformation, I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to shoot like the medics who are working on people and stuff in war. It probably happens a hell of a lot, but you're not supposed to do that. And so like the idea is, you know, you're supposed to be shooting at the people who are shooting at you to stop them from shooting at you. So that's where the war goes. But if you shoot someone with a lead bullet and then you poison them in the long term and they survive the bullet wound and they get out of war, and like you like, the idea of a war most of the time is to eventually come to an agreement but have the leverage over the other side, you know, like you go, okay, well, you know, we're clearly going to win this war, so instead of killing all of your people, let's now make an agreement, but I have all the leverage, so we're going to do what I want, right? But you know, you're going to come to an agreement with the other party, and then many years later, after you've already come to an agreement and moved past this war, then you die from the results of it. Like, that would be really fucked up. So, you know, I'm not saying that Fleves, whatever they're called, were wrong to create weapons to fight back against the people oppressing them, because I wouldn't say that, because they're just trying to get out of the horrible situation that they've been put in by the government. But I do think it's really interesting thinking about the idea of they created these bullets, and possibly these bullets are a really horrible weapon of war. But yeah, I'm just looking at this, looking at the notes again to see if there's anything else. No, I don't think so. Let's just look at the titles while I'm remembering. This episode was called Sad Memories, Law the Boy from Whitetown. And the previous episode was called The Ultimate Power, The Secret of the Op Fruit. Okay, very nice. I will say, last episode I had said, like, I had called it like the rose-colored tragedy, referring to like Doflamingo's past. And I just want to point it out because I think it was kind of clever for me to come up with in such a short span of time. Because, like, the idea is obviously, like, rose-colored glasses, you're seeing things in a positive light, and it feels like that's, like, Doflamingo's thing, is, like, his backstory is a tragedy, but he's talking about it with smiles and, like, bragging about it. I killed my father and my mother, you know, like, I killed my father, right? Like, that was the thing. I can't remember if he killed his mother, but I killed my father, and he's talking about it like it's this grand thing that he did, and he's survived, and like he's talking about it as a survivor story, but he's looking at this tragedy, this tragic backstory through that, and it has a double meaning because he also wears like red shades, right? And then I thought, wow, I wonder, I don't think that's an intentional thing in his character design, but maybe it is. It's hard to know because I don't know if rose-colored glasses is a phrase in Japanese that they would understand, because it's a phrase in English, and then I know in BoJack Horseman there's a line that's like when you're wearing rose-colored glasses, all the red flags just look like flags, and it's a really beautiful, amazing line of that show. But I know that a lot of other series, when they're dubbing it for their own language, when they're localizing it, they change that phrase to make more sense. So I think someone says like I think it's in French or something I saw the other day, that it was something along the lines of like, at night all cats look gray, but you'd think I'd be able to, but I thought I could tell the difference because I'm an owl, I'm nocturnal. Like it was something like that because it's an owl that says it in the show. So like there's just like, you have to localize the phrases and stuff. I don't know if rose-colored glasses is a thing in Japan. I doubt it is. I feel like it's just the Doflamingo thing is just a design choice, but it, funnily enough, like to me, it kind of fits his thing because he does talk about really fucked up things and seems to have a really fucked up past and stuff, but he does so much of it with a smile and he tries to take the positives from it in a way. But then again, it's not like he's seeing his past in a positive light. He's pissed off about it, but he just does it with a smile. So it's a bit different than seeing it in rose-colored glasses. He's almost seeing it in like blood-tinted glasses, which is a different thing. And that might also just be the intention, is it's supposed to look like blood, essentially. Like he's seeing the world through his blinding rage, which that probably makes more sense as an interpretation of his character design. I don't know. Anyway, let's move on to the next and final episode. I mean, I will say this, I feel like this video right now is as long as a 3-episode video normally is already, and we haven't even done the 3rd episode. So quite a lot of discussion in this video so far, but that's good because that means the show has given us a lot of information and a lot for me to talk about. And I've said that like I'm going to try to make sure that I'm not rushing through my discussions. There was a point in time on this channel where I'm like trying to get through the discussions quicker because I'm like feeling like people don't want to see them or whatever. But now I've done away with that, and I know that the people that are here and haven't skipped this bit do want to see those discussions. So I'm keeping them as long as they need to be. And let's move on to the next and final episode we're doing in this video. This is episode 702 of One Piece. Here we go. Okay, recap Rubik's. Here we go. Alright, and that's the cube complete. Alright, this episode is gonna be called... Oh, I don't know. I feel like all the episodes they come up with the same kinds of titles for this section. It's all gonna be about the backstory. Corazon's tragic death is gonna be in the title somewhere. See those rose-colored glasses right there? Oh, he's having flashback dreams. Yeah, see, this is kind of confirming that it's more blood-colored glasses than rose-colored glasses. Jesus! Oh my god. Oh god. Did they kill him? Or... Jesus! Oh my god! Oh. Oh my god. It didn't hit him. I mean, I can understand where the frustration and anger is coming from. Oh. Damn, man. That's actually really haunting him, as it should. That's a horrible thing to go through. Man, pick up your fucking phone. Doshita, Loga, Soka. It's a funny sequence of similar sounding phrases. Damn. Yes, you're all humans. And this was before they were shot at, right? They lowered themselves to humans and then everyone came after them, right? Is this a house? Sorry, a humble life. I'm pretty sure that's satire from Oda. We're gonna live a humble life in this massive mansion with our buckets of gold. Roshinante. You're still gonna live a life full of riches by the look of your place. This is where the citizens lose their credibility to me. The way they take it out on Homie. Okay, well, I think taking it out on Doflamingo makes sense. Yeah. Oh. It's hard when you come from such a horrible people. That's a cool shot. I like the movement in these shots. I feel like they should have showed this backstory before they showed Laws. I mean, we see where it ends up, right? This is all before they get hung up and shot arrows at, so... And then obviously, at some point, he's gonna kill his dad. Oh, he begged to come back? Oh, he begged to send them back. Oh, he's a good man. Oh my god. So they went to living like in the slums, and I just saw Panda Man there, really buff. Be a wild feeling, honestly, to go from being pampered so much to being hungry for the first time. Oh. Shit, man. And he blames his father for all of this. Okay, so he didn't kill his mother. His mother died because of their circumstance. He's still trying to protect his children. Yeah, this makes me feel sick. We're going back here, okay. I thought we were gonna see... They're gonna wait to show us how he killed his father. She's... Baby's still crying. He's just sitting there like he didn't get stabbed. Oh my god. Yeah, he hasn't. Snitches get stitches in his mind. You stabbed me fair and square. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Damn, man, he had high expectations. It'd be kind of cool to see an alternate universe where Law actually became his right-hand man, like, unabashedly. Damn. Straight up lying for him. Yeah. Law and Baby 5 grew up together. Did Baby 5, you know, want him as the perfect husband? That feels like that would be the case. Jeez, man. Oh. Aww. This could almost be an inspiring backstory if it didn't involve such horrible atrocities. Oh, look at Laoji. 2 years later. Hey, you're still holding that over him? Waterloo. Trafalgar D. Waterloo. Water is a true name. What if he speaks? What if we hear his voice? And he thinks it's someone else speaking. Why? What is it? Whoa! Whoa! Crazy screen. Okay. Very cool episode. Yeah, well, I mean, we have both Law's backstories and Doflamingo's backstories going on simultaneously here. I said in this episode that I felt like they should have shown Doflamingo's backstory before they showed Law's. And the reason for that, in my mind, is I feel like just by the very nature of who Doflamingo is and who the Celestial Dragons are and stuff, I think we're inherently going to have a little bit less sympathy for them than someone like Law, who, you know, is a good guy to us, you know, like one of the protagonists to us, in the modern day, and we care about him a lot already, and also his family were just like purely like not just kind of good people, but like unabashedly good people. They were like doctors and saving people, and they were living, you know, a somewhat humble life, and they were just so pure and sweet and like didn't deserve any of that. And the reason I think that should go last is because I feel like you want to ramp up to that tragedy even more, and I feel like having Doflamingo's backstory after Law's backstory, I'm looking at Doflamingo's and I'm going like, wow, that's awful and stuff. But man, the shit that Law went through, like that's what's going through my mind. Because when we see Doflamingo in his backstory, I mean, he's a kid, so I can't super blame him for this, but he's being shitty at every turn, you know. He's being so disgusting and disturbing, but he's a kid. Like, he doesn't get it, he doesn't understand. And that's the thing about Doflamingo that I was talking about in the previous videos or whatever, is that he like never matured. He's still a kid at heart in the modern day, because he was never able to properly mature. He never actually properly grew up. But yeah, anyway, so I just think, like, I mean, maybe I'll feel differently once they show me a little bit more, but if I had to make a minor change based on what I would be more emotionally affected by, I'd swap the two backstories. But I feel like this, like, they might be leading up to something more that, like, that Oda wants you to have all of the context when we reach the end of Doflamingo's backstory, because there might be like a point where it's like, this is what makes it make sense, you know? For example, I remember finding the Luffy backstory to be like a little strange at its positioning and all of that at the time, right? But then by the time it came to the end of that backstory, and I saw it in context of the scene where Luffy's like wanting his friends back and all of that, like once we saw all of that come together at the very end, then it felt like that was an appropriate time to put that backstory. So I'm not gonna make a definitive statement on whether or not I think it was the right decision, because I haven't seen all the context yet. So let's wait until that happens. But still, crazy backstory. Again, severely fucked. Like, One Piece has some of the, like, most complex, deep, horrifying backstories that I think I've seen, where it's like, I'm constantly thinking about how messed up it is, but I can see why it all went the way that it went. And a lot of the time, you know, the people, like some of the people directly involved are doing horrible things, but I can't fully blame them. But I can blame them a lot. Like in this situation, Homing, is that what his name is? Homing? Yeah, Homing. He decides, you know, I'm not going to be a Celestial Dragon anymore, because, like, we're humans, we should live as humans. Like, we shouldn't hold ourselves to that high place or whatever. And he doesn't, you know, have a falling out with the Celestial Dragons or whatever. He doesn't call them all disgusting and, like, tear himself apart from them or whatever. He just very amicably goes, you know what, this isn't right for me and my family. I think we should be doing this the right way, so I'm gonna leave it behind. And he does that. And then he comes to the people and just straight up, like, is humble towards them and, like, actually, you know, like, throws himself at their feet, essentially, and goes like, look, I was a celestial dragon, but I've come to live among the people because I should live among the people. And then the people see that, and, like, here's where it gets frustrating, because they see that and they go like, well, we have all of this pent-up rage about the celestial dragons because they're such disgusting people that we need someone to take it out on. If we take it out on the celestial dragons, we die, everyone we love dies, and, like, you know, they possibly nuke the city. Like, it's very possible that they would do something like that. It's the government. They've been known to buster calls and motherfuckers. So instead, it's like, here are people who are, like, have given up their celestial dragons titles, but are still celestial dragons at heart. So we can take out our anger on them, and that we're not going to get the repercussions of it. And that's really horrifying that people have that thought process, because, like, these people, they're the ones that did the right thing. They're the ones that gave up that life because they saw it wasn't good to hold yourself above people. And what you're doing there is you're punishing that behavior. You're punishing the celestial dragons for coming down from their high horse. And obviously, they're not thinking super logically. There's also a few more things to take into consideration. One being the fact that Doflamingo is still standing there going, you should all be bowing for me. You should be getting on your knees. Why aren't you getting on your knees, you pathetic, lowly humans? That probably pushed it along even more. Like, maybe if Doflamingo wasn't doing that, they would be able to separate it in their minds. But because they turned over and saw the kid was like that, they were like, no, these are all the same. Like, the celestial dragons are all like this kid. So maybe that had part of it, like, that had something to do with it. The other thing to take into account is the fact that they had a fucking mansion and a lot of gold, and, like, they didn't come to live in a cabin there with, like, very little money and had to, like, work his ass off and you know, work his way back up. He didn't do that. And I don't blame him for not doing that. I don't think that's a huge crime, but that might have endeared him to the people more. It's like, I gave up everything to be here, you know? But he didn't. He didn't give up everything. He gave up some of the protections, you know? And then he came down, and he's living among the people, but he's still above them. Like, in class, he's still above those people. So, like, that is the other thing to take into consideration when thinking about the fact that people rose up against them. But it doesn't make it cool what the people do to them, because that is, like, they are taking their rage out on the people who have actually, like, done the one thing that no other celestial dragons does, and it's precisely because Homing doesn't look down on them, because he sees himself as one of them. And, like, and so his crime ended up being that he saw them as equals, which is really sad that he gets punished for that. And yeah, like, it's like with dogs or whatever, right? Like, or with training animals in general, and kind of with children as well. I'm not a parent, so I'm not gonna speak too much on parenting. The only things I've said about parenting on this channel is to not hit your children, and I even got blowback on that. So you know, I'm not going to speak too much on parenting, although I remain, do not hit your children. Just don't fucking do it. It's lazy, it's stupid, it's bad. It's just bad. But anyway, when you're training dogs and you know, when you're bringing up children and stuff, I think over time we've discovered that our way of training dogs in the past was not great, which is, you know, oh, the dog like pissed on the carpet or whatever, smack him with newspaper, rub his nose in it, like do this stuff to punish the behavior that you don't want to see, right? That's what we used to do. And I'm sure that's what a lot of people still do. Because it in our minds, it makes sense, right? Like you're angry about the situation. You see the person who did it. You want to make sure they don't do it again. So you punish them for that behavior so that, you know, the idea is that they will, every time they're about to pee somewhere, they go like, oh, if I pee on the carpet, I'm going to get hit with a newspaper, or I'm going to have my nose rubbed in it or whatever. So instead I'm going to do whatever. But I think, I mean, you can look up the actual research or whatever behind this, but I think the idea is all that does is like, first of all, it's just harmful to the psyche of I don't know if psyche is the right word, but it's harmful to the psyche of the person being punished, to just be associating so much shit with pain. That's just bad. It's just not great for people. But the other thing is that a lot of the time, what that tells us in our minds is we try to find loopholes around it then. You know, we know, well, this thing gives me enjoyment, or, you know, or this thing is easy. I don't want to say pissing on the carpet gives you enjoyment. Maybe it does, but you know, this thing is easy and convenient or whatever. But I suffer when I do it because of this person. So in their head, they go, what's the problem here? And they don't go, the problem is the action. They go, the problem is the person punishing me. The person who's trying to get me to not do that, who punishes me every time I do that, that's the problem. And we've experienced this when we grow up and our parents are like telling us, well, you can't do this, you can't go out to that party tonight, you can't do whatever. You know, you don't think like, oh man, like, it sucks that the world has stopped me from going to this party, or it sucks that this party is bad. You don't think that. You think, my parents suck for not letting me go to that party. That's what you think. That's how minds work. So you basically are creating the wrong link there, and you're actually just damaging the relationship and damaging the person. It's not a great way to teach people. So instead, the idea is you reward the behavior that you want to see, rather than doing punishments for the behavior that you don't. So the behavior with the Celestial Dragon's case that you want to see would be them humbling themselves, them not being so high and mighty. And Homing did that. He humbled himself, and now they're punishing it. You know, so why on earth would the Celestial Dragons ever do anything like that again? Because now they have a tail to point to say like, hey, look what happens when we try to bring ourselves down to your level. This guy got fucked up for it. So there's no way any of us are ever doing that again. I'm not saying they need to, you know, reward him as in like throw him a party and throw him a big feast and give him all your money and all of that. But like they need to like at the very least try to accept him, you know, try to understand him, do something along those lines, because that would be the way that you make an actual change. In the same way, when your dog doesn't piss on the carpet, but instead pisses in the right place, in the place you want him to piss, he gets a treat, he gets pets, he gets, oh, good boy, that's so great. And then in his mind, he's like, oh my gosh, when I do this thing, I get this. So yeah, I could piss on the carpet, or I could piss outside, and then this person will be happy with me. This person that I like, because they haven't damaged our relationship by hurting me. So I like them more. So I care about what they think of me. So I'm going to do this stuff for them. And then after a while, you start to associate those good things with not just the reward, but a good feeling. So you do more good things. I would say I do a decent amount of good things in my life that don't get any reward, or no one knows that I do. I'm not saying I'm a saint. I'm just saying it's something that happens in your life. And I feel good about it, even if I get nothing out of it. Because my mind has been wired that way. Because I wasn't hit with a belt when I did things wrong, you know? So yeah, I think it's really interesting to see in a backstory like this, you know, just how people, because I mean, we're lazy creatures. That's the problem. So in a thing like this, the reason you see people lash out like this is we have all of these feelings and we don't know what to do with them, and we get frustrated and angry. And anger is one of the hardest things, I think, to contain. It's one of the hardest things to deal with. And I mean, I say this as like, as a man. I feel like men a lot of the time, like I think I've said this before, but I feel like, you know, generally, this is a generalization, but generally, women will have their negative emotion default to sadness, and men generally have their negative emotion default to anger. And so I feel like with a lot of men, like the anger part of things, if you don't know how to control it, it's really tough. It's a really tough thing to control, and you start to do a lot of shit, because when you're angry, I'm sure a lot of us have experienced it before, our head gets cloudy, we can't see straight, and like no matter what else is happening, you could know that something's wrong, but in the moment you're like, but right now I don't fucking care. I want to deal with this situation in this way right now, no matter the consequences. And then you do it, and then afterwards, you know, the next day or whatever, you'll look back and go, why the hell did I do that? You know, like, why did I say that or do that? Because anger is like, it really, really does something to your brain. And that's what it does to these people. Like, they see those people and they feel all that pain again. They feel their children that were killed because they walked in front of a celestial dragon. And they'll see, like, every single time they've accidentally bumped into them or said something wrong about them and someone's been punished for it. Or the slavery that's happened, the people that have come back from being enslaved, and like, they remember all of that pain, and it all comes out, and they're looking at one of the people who was part of the group that did it. And so, you know, humans as creatures who are unable, well, not unable, but who find it very difficult to take all of the information and make a logical decision when they're overwhelmed with emotions. They look at that situation and all they can see is, this is the person who's made me feel this rage. You know, I made a tweet, a skeet on Blue Sky about it at some point, where I was talking about, and I mean, this is a long discussion, but hey, you guys get extra video, celebrate. But I made a post about Arcane at some point, and it vaguely relates to this. Here it is. So the post that I made said, I'm getting it up so you can see it. And it's backwards for you. So just give me a second. Okay, there we go. So, you know, I've been thinking this with Arcane especially lately, but the better that a show is at its job, the more emotionally attached the audience gets. And the more a viewer feels wild emotions, the more they want to take it out on something when they feel sad. Being a writer is hard. Basically, your reward for doing a great job is that viewers are angry because your writing was good enough to make them feel genuine emotion, which a lot of people can't really handle super healthily. I admire it. That's the beauty of art to me. I love good TV. So what I'm saying there is, like, when you are watching a show, and the reason I was saying it with Arcane is because I feel like people were so emotionally invested in Arcane's characters, and they saw when a character in Arcane did something that they did not agree with, that was a bad thing to do, or that was frustrating, or they made a mistake, or they, you know, anything along those lines, they get so upset in their minds because they have a link to that character. They care about them so much, and now they're feeling this wild emotion. And that's the wild emotion that the show wants you to feel. They want you to be upset that this person is making a wrong decision. They want you to be upset that what they're doing is about to get someone killed, or they want you to be frustrated that, like, they're doing something bad that you don't understand or whatever. And they want you to feel all those emotions, and that's a wonderful thing, because that's what art does to us. It makes us go through this gambit of emotions constantly. But then the problem is, people don't understand their own emotions. So when they're watching TV and then they feel these negative emotions and then they don't know what to do with them, what are they gonna do? Fuck this show, bad writing, like, I can't believe that character did that. Oh, the pacing is all off on this because this didn't make any sense and they didn't explain any of this, and why is this character doing this? I mean, it's just contrived bad shit, you know? And, like, the more we've gone through the gambit of social media, being involved in every TV show, every movie. I make videos on every episode of everything that I watch. So like I'm part of this media spiral, right? I'm not saying like I can't criticize it too much because it's what I do for fun. But when the more that happens with people, the more they like see other people analyze media constantly, and then they take that and go, well, I'm going to do that too. And then everyone does that, and everyone's trying to analyze media. And the, sad thing is most people aren't really great at media analysis. Just they don't quite understand because they never really look at it from like the writer's perspective. And that's the thing that you really should be doing. Like why is the writer doing that? What does the writer care about in this scenario? Not what do you care about? What does the writer care about? And why are they doing these certain things? And so yeah, all of this to say, like, I speak on this a little bit more confidently because at the very least, like, I went to university for creative writing. I did a lot of media critique and media study. I have a double degree in media and arts. And so I have one degree in a Bachelor of Media from the University of Adelaide, and I have a Bachelor of Arts, and my major was creative writing, and my minor was English. So like I did a lot of actual genuine study on media. So I at least feel like I have some expertise in the situation. I don't think I'm incredibly intelligent in those areas necessarily, but it's at least like a little bit of expertise that I have, I'm not going to be more experienced than, say, someone who is an accomplished writer who's put out a lot of novels or who's written a lot of TV shows, movies, and stuff like that. I don't think I'm going to have that sort of wealth of experience and knowledge. But I feel like I have more than the average person because of my experiences and because of my education. So, but I also tend to just be a very positive guy and a very pro writer, pro story guy who cares a lot about people being able to tell stories that they want to tell. And a lot of that comes with understanding emotions and understanding your own emotions. But that's a big divergent off of the main topic, which is I feel like the people in this backstory can't control their emotions. That's all I'm saying. It's a long way to say it, but hopefully, sometimes I will do these discussions, and like you guys are here for the One Piece parts of it, right? Majority of the people aren't really here for me, and I understand that. They're here, and I don't blame you for that. You're here for the One Piece part of it. You're here to maybe you like me and you want to see me experience One Piece, but you mostly want to see the One Piece parts of it, which I get. That's what you sat down and signed up for. Sometimes I make those big divergences and start talking about something that's not really related to One Piece, but I mean, I actually want to hear, if you're still watching this video, I would like to hear your thoughts on that side of things. Like when the discussions divert a lot from One Piece, I always try to tie it back in, but when they divert a lot from One Piece like that, is that good for you? Like, do you find that valuable at all? Because sometimes I feel like the point is I'm trying to show you how much the episode has affected me. And so the more that I talk, the more the episode had some sort of effect on me, I feel like. So this episode clearly did have an effect on me because I have a lot to talk about. But it's sometimes hard to illustrate that properly when it feels like I'm just going off on like ADHD tangents. I don't know if I have ADHD, but I wouldn't be surprised. I've never gotten tested for it or anything. But I wouldn't be shocked if I did. Anyway, anything else that I want to say? Let me look. And then he said at the end, because of the fact that you have the secret D name, don't be around Doflamingo. We're not going to get an answer to why, I don't think, because like, because we're not going to find out what Will of D is. But man, I want to fucking know so badly. I want to know what it is so badly. I need to catch up on this show, and then you know, if it's still not revealed, don't tell me if it is or not, but if it's still not revealed when we're caught up with the show, then at least I can properly start thinking about it in terms of the entire show I've seen so far. Right now, I'm just waiting, and every time they bring it up in a scene, I'm like, what could it possibly be? Oh, man. Anyway. That's One Piece, episode 700 to 702. This video was longer than the average 4 episode videos that I do, and it was a 3 episode video, because I did a lot of discussion. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you stuck around for the entire discussions of these things, you get a fucking medal. That's amazing. That's a lot of video to watch. So I really, really appreciate you, and thank you so much for supporting me if you did that. But make sure to like the video, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel if you can. Go to my Patreon account for the full-length reactions, early access, and exclusive videos. And you can also go to Gent Watches. I mean, you can go to the YouTube membership down below to get 1 week early on edited videos. And also just go to my main channel. If you like my videos, go check out some videos on the main channel as well. But thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.